All right, so we're going to revisit the 5-number summary that I showed you how to get on the calculator, just to refresh your memory. This comes from the data set about the number of text messages students told me they estimate they send in one day. So we got these 5 numbers from the calculator, and we can use these 5 numbers to create what's called a box and whisker plot. This is another kind of graph that we can use for quantitative data. Now, the first thing we want to do is put some sort of scale. So I have a number line here, and I have to go from 0 to 800. So I'm going to go ahead and count by 100s. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. I'm not writing them in every space simply because my marker's too big. It'll get a little squishy. So I'm going to take the 3 numbers that are in the middle, and these are going to make a box for this box and whisker plot. What I'm going to do is simply draw a line at each of these numbers above my number line. So 50, somewhere halfway between 0 and 100. 150 is going to be between the 100 and the 200. And then 400. And again, I like to draw mine just above the number line. So I'm going to connect all of these to make a box. I've got a rectangle with a line in the middle showing me my median. The last 2 numbers, the min and the max, I'm just going to draw a little point or a little circle on my picture at those points. So there's one at 0, one at 800. And then I connect the center of my box, the middle of that line, all the way out to my little dots. So those are the whiskers, like whiskers on a kitty cat. And it just shows me how far out it goes. And that's what's known as a box and whisker plot. 3 in the middle make our box. 2 on the edges make our whiskers. Box and whisker plots is a great time for us to talk about outliers. Some of you are saying, wow, how do I decide when something is an outlier? Well, when it comes to box and whisker plots, there is actually a rule for outliers. And anything is an outlier if it goes beyond what I call a fence. So anything past the fence is an outlier. And here are the rules for where to put your fences. Call them fences, I don't know, box and whisker plot, kitties. I'm like on a farm or something. Our fence goes at Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR, or Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. So this is just giving us kind of an idea of how far out we need to stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate these 2 things, then we'll come back to the graph. All right, so for my fence, this is my upper fence because it's Q3, so it's on the high end. I'm going to take my Q3 number, it was 400. You can see that right here on my picture. And I'm going to add 1.5 times the IQR. Well, just to refresh your memory, the IQR was Q3 minus Q1. So in this case, it's 400 minus 50. That gives me an IQR of 350. So that's what I'm filling in. 350, just filling that in here in my formula. So if I punch that in my calculator, I get 925. So what that tells me is any number past 925 would be considered an outlier for this set of data. So let's see, on my picture, here's 800 and 900. Just going to estimate 925, somewhere in there. Notice this whisker does not go past. So 800 is not an outlier. I can do the same thing on the bottom half using my second or lower fence. Q1 was 50. This time I'm going to subtract because I need to go to the left of the fence. 1.5 times the IQR. And I got negative 475. That's not even on my picture. Okay? Somewhere way down here, okay, there's another fence. Certainly we don't have anybody that sends negative text messages in a day. I'm not really sure what that would mean. So we're not going to have any outliers on the low end. So in this particular set of data, there are no outliers. Now, just for fun, let's pretend that somebody moves in, and we want to just put them on the graph, and they send 1,000 text messages. Now, certainly I would go back and recalculate, but just for appearances, just for illustration, I'd like to go ahead and just put 1,000 on the graph. Remember, anything past 925 is an outlier, and 1,000 is way out here. So I can't extend my whisker out to that dot. It just becomes like a star. Okay? Whiskers need to stop before they hit the fence. Okay? So I would not draw my whisker all the way out there. Instead, I just leave it as like a star, showing, hey, there's something funny way out here. It's an outlier. And those are our box and whisker plots.